absolutely winter wonderland up here in northern New York.
It's beach weather here in Vancouver.
Seriously?
No, not really. It is clear as a bell, but it has been colder than usual. We didn't get any snow for the last 2 years, and now we've actually got some in the suburbs. It's piled up a bit, but here in the city, there is not a flake to be seen except way up on the mountains.
Wow. I had to go get some gravel from the town yard, whatever it is, yesterday. I went down and got 4 buckets of gravel just so I could get up my driveway yesterday.
Ooh.
And let me tell you,
Fun.
I don't need to do that here in Memphis because I moved here for 2 reasons. Number one, I'll never have to shovel snow again. And number 2, I'm here for Kimberly. The shoveling snow thing was actually more important.
But you see, now that you have her, you could get her to do the snow shoveling, so it wouldn't matter where you live.
Yeah, but all right, we're going to get started just a second, everybody. I know you're all coming in, and we're here. And by the way, you can toggle. We have boot campers, everybody, and we have guests who I just opened it up to the world to come and join us. We potentially will have 10,294 viewers today, which is entirely not true, but it's my birthday, and I can fib. It's okay. So at the lake house, it's going down to the teens. Then it's going to get to 69 degrees on Saturday. We'll get a storm coming through, which could bring some tornadic activity. And then it's dropping back down to the teens. But I won't have to shovel snow. All right. Let's see what we got here. Just going to welcome everybody else in. Hello, Jenny. Jenny says, happy birthday, me. Thank you so very much. I mean, Stuart, me. You know what I mean. 3 superstars. There you go, gentlemen. Dawn says Pennsylvania is windy and bare cold. Michael says it's sunny and frigid here in D.C. Terlisky, who just joined boot camp, gentlemen. Would you welcome Terlisky?
Welcome.
There you go. Welcome. Says happy birthday. Hello, Nolan and Mike. Yvonne is in the house. Wish me happy birthday. Gina's here. Thank you for your well wishes, Gina. Edward is here. Hey, Edward, did you send me those questions from last 2 weeks ago? The school group thing, because I got them here. We're going to tackle that too. And Lena's in the house, and she says happy birthday from Virginia. Well, we're going to get started here. Let's rock and roll. Welcome, everybody. This is a December 15th edition, special birthday edition of the Ask Stuart Hour. Mike Marchev, welcome to the show.
Nice to be here, Stuart, as always. I'm going to put my festive hat on now. Hold on.
Okay. As he puts his hat on, Nolan Burris from Vancouver, welcome to the Ask Stuart Hour.
Hey, how are you? Here, I'll put my hat on. But for just a minute, it's hot in here. So there we go.
Indeed.
We're all hatted up.
It's hat time here. Hats are good. Hats are coming back in style, but we certainly have 3 very distinctly different hats.
We do.
Yes. I'm going
to go with Nolan's, though. My vote's going with Burris.
Well, just to keep everybody riveted so we don't lose anybody, I have a combination of hats that I will be showing today because I'm going to have some fun. It's my birthday. All right, let me tell you the rules, everybody. The rules of the game, there are no rules. The only slide you see is the slide you see. You're gonna see our 3 beautiful mugs the whole show. You can toggle it to make us bigger, to make us smaller. And if you think Nolan's the best looking, you could just focus on Nolan. If you think Mike's the best looking, which I don't understand how, but you can focus on Mike. But we're gonna get down to business, even though it's my birthday. We're gonna get down to business. So if you got a question, you got an issue. As long as it's not a medical issue, then you can type it in. Or else if my wife was here, if you had some kind of a rash, she can help. I can't help with the rash. Can you guys help with the rash?
Prevention, Stuart. It's prevention.
Okay. Ed, now this is from 2 weeks ago, and I promise.
I gotta go, fellas. I wasn't banking on this. I gotta go.
Now, that was not the Irish fade, by the way, because you made it very pronounced. All All right. Now, Ed wants to know about school groups and high school groups. Wants some tips and best practices for this segment and supplier suggestions. Let's focus on the tips and best practice for school groups. Let me just throw 5 cents in, and gentlemen, if you got something you want to add, just let me know. But school groups are high school groups. You specifically wrote here. It's definitely a niche. I don't see too many agencies in the game, because normally when I see agencies who commit to this, they get into it big time, where they, for instance, they do the choir groups. They do something very specific where the school does a regular trip. It could get hairy. There's a lot of insurance issues, legal issues. You've got to have a certain amount. It's a whole new ballgame, because you need escorts too. What's good about it, though, is that you can't get any more affinity than that. And if you partner with the school, and it's a real good, solid program, and these kids want to go down to St. Mark's Square and sing together, then you got a good shot. But just know that you are competing with companies like World Cultural Tours. I'm friends with the owner. These guys do it as a business. They do it for a living. That's all they do. Because they also know where they can sing and can't sing, and how to get things set up, because sometimes there's equipment. What if these kids play the tuba? You need an extra seat on the aircraft for the tuba, and tubas are big. They actually might need a seatbelt extender for the tuba if it's sitting next to you. I haven't seen too many of even all my years, do high school groups on a regular basis. And I want to open up. Gentlemen, do you have any observations you want to share here?
Yeah. Nolan, it looks like Mike's pointing at the screen, so I'll let him go first. He points at it with purpose.
I'm pointing at you.
I'm the other way.
You go first. You go this way.
Hey, well, first of all, Ed, he's my buddy. Good to see you on here, man. And that's a really good question. I have had some experience with high school groups in the years. It's been a little while, but I think everything you said there, Stuart, is right. It's a little bit of a crowded space, you might say. You can do very well in high school groups, but there's one thing that I found that is kind of common with most. I wouldn't say all, but with most, and that is you better figure out how to make your money in a different way than just commission, because they tend to be lower priced product. Not always, but you know, mom and dad are not going to put the big bucks into sending Jimmy in a Spanish school class to Mexico so they can practice saying cerveza, por favor. So you kind of need to be prepared for that, fees might be a little more of the story with high school groups, or markups, or some other way where you get some bucks in there than just the commission from the supplier.
Yeah.
That's my 2 cents worth.
Yeah. No, thanks, Nolan. Appreciate that. Mr. Marchev, you're on. What do you got?
I'm going to come from this from a slightly different angle. You two fellas approached it as if you already were going to have a group, and I think that you approach a high school and you're selling, and I don't think you want to approach a high school selling your group or your idea. I think you better back off a little bit and establish some kind of a relationship, so when you do sit down with the choir master or whoever it is, the relationship is on a different level, and they're going to listen to your ideas. And the thought I had was really going back to the old two-step, is what can you offer the students at the high school that will benefit them, that has nothing to do with you. It could be a report on safety when you leave town. It could be CPR. Anything that when you do leave town, here's how you order wine at a hotel in London or whatever it is.
High school, Mike. High school. Let's not be ordering the kids the wine. This is why Mike has never done a high school trip. Well, actually, he did one, but then they have what they call the wine incident, and that was the end of the high school groups for Mike. So let's just disconnect him right now and avoid future embarrassment, Stuart. Well, how's that?
The message I have is give before you get. If you approach selling, I think it's a tough uphill ride. And Nolan, major point, and I'm done.
Actually, I was waiting for you to suggest one of those, because Alma's got those beer tasting river cruises. Maybe a high school trip with the beer tasting cruise.
Well, actually,
I think Nolan's out of touch because I think the high school students know how to order wine already. If you want to know the truth.
Of course they do, but the parents will never hire you if you help them along with that little process. But I think Mike does make a really good point here. When I said that this is kind of a crowded space, it's because it actually is a very desirable space to get into, because once you're in it, you kind of stay in it. You don't have to do a lot to resell it. Once you're in, you specialize in doing high school groups. It is an area of expertise, but if you think about it, that teacher of the Spanish club has a lot better things to do with their day than to constantly be looking for new people to escort and put together a group. And so once you're in, you tend to cycle it over and over and over again with the same high school groups. It's a good one to get into. Just know it's not always an easy one to get into, and you really do need to know how to dot your T's and cross your I's and all that stuff.
Not to kill this one for the whole show, but one other point that I've always taught agents, I thought it was a great idea, is approach the high school. I just got back, meaning you just got back from a river cruise on the Seine, and you went up to the beaches of Normandy, and you learned all about World War II, and I'd love to come into the high school and share my slides and share my story with your senior class. Now, either they buy it or they don't buy it, but you're coming in to provide information on World War II to a classroom, and while you're in that school during that day, that's where you're going to meet the players and perhaps establish a relationship for future contact.
Yeah.
Yeah, and just to quantify this, and I'm sure everybody who's on the line right now has seen this too, either with their own children or neighbors' children. But my stepson, Jacob, he's going to Italy to sing in a few weeks. And not only that, but he went to New York City. He sang in Carnegie Hall, And so there's an age. Somebody's booking these trips. And I don't know if it was the big company or small company, but it's happening. And again, to Nolan's point too, it is a very specific, wonderful niche, and especially perhaps if it's a musical thing. If you sing, if you've been in a band, if you know how it works, to Mike's point, it will help you get in the door so much better because you know what you're talking about. If you're going to pick a niche, don't just pick it because you're going to make a lot of money. Pick it because you love it, right? You've got a passion for it. Now, I'm going to do a quick hat change here because I've never shown this hat in public or on the show. So let me do this, and then we're going to. We'll take on the next set of questions, is what I'm saying. Yvonne is here in Santa Rosa. We're having probably the heaviest rainy day of the year. But that's good. California needs rain. Is that right? Pamela's in the house. Happy birthday. It's 46 degrees in Houston. It's just like this is like the Weather Channel. I think this is what this has become. Thanks for the birthday wishes, Yolanda. Welcome. Belvin's in the house. He's a brand new boot camp member. Welcome, Belvin. Glad you're here. Nolan, he says he read your book on vision.
Yeah, so saw that.
Yeah, pretty cool. Jean Ann's in the house. Thanks for birthday wishes. Very, very cool. But you wrote a book on vision. Interesting. So do you specialize in the retina or the cornea?
I recommend the progressives, actually. The book goes into a lot of detail about progressives versus traditional bifocals. Not that kind of vision, man.
I know. I get it. Amber said for that rash situation we alluded to briefly before, unfortunately, because I was rambling, she said try Windex on the rash. Thank you, Amber, for that. Let's see. Jenny says getting correct legal names of students can be a challenge. Indeed. In fact, Jacob, right now, he just drove in the driveway, drove back out. He's going to the post office to get his passport. Yeah, there's a lot of details that's got to get done, but what an experience for the kids, too. Ed said, is there an opportunity for me to be an agent between school groups and tour operators, like I'd help an adult group or an individual client to choose a cruise and itinerary? So I guess what Ed is saying, can you do the niche? Can you do the school groups and then do the individuals? A quick answer there is maybe. You know, if you're diving into this niche, you're going to market yourself, you're putting your whole body, self, soul, and mind into it. You may not have time to deal with the individuals, and you're going to pass the individuals to Amber over there because she loves individuals. You know what I mean? So it really comes down to how much you want to dive into that niche. Sometimes to become the best at the game, to get the repeat business, to be loved, to get the phone calls where they call you. You got to say no to so many other pieces of business so that you get the calls you want. Gents, any comments on that?
No, I think with everything, I think when we talk about specializing, whether it's groups or European river cruises, whichever it might be, once you become known for it, two things happen. One, people will start recognizing your expertise and your specialty, and you start attracting people looking for that. But the other is just kind of what comes with the territory, like it or not. You become really busy doing that one thing, and you don't have a whole lot of time for the other stuff. Doesn't mean that you can't, but at some point when you get really good at whatever your chosen thing is, where you put the spotlight, you do find that there's a little less time to carve out for that time for that other stuff, like the individual trips or some other specialty that you might have going on. But there is one thing about student groups, and I know you don't want to make this all about student groups, but they do tend to be pretty seasonal. They happen around the same time every year. You usually have about 2 to maximum 3 flights, you might say, of student groups a year when they have the time off. And which, again, I don't want to get too detailed, but as you know, that they're all doing it around the same time. And so these are things you really have to plan in advance because the space fills up pretty quickly. All the student groups are going around the same time every year.
That's right.
So it is, again, a big area of expertise, and it does take up a lot of time, but it can be really lucrative and a whole lot of fun. And Stuart, I don't know if you saw Nancy's comment there about the chorus group that she did. And hey, Nancy, good to see you, by the way.
I haven't seen it yet. I'm going to get to that. I appreciate that.
Yeah, you bet.
Good stuff. And Yolanda, you're asking about corporate groups. We're going to get to in just a second. I want to take on some great questions that Hans has sent in, and I want to play sort of rapid fire with my special guests here, folks. If you're just joining us, I got Mike, I got Nolan. Not only are they friends, they're competitors, and they're friends, and they're my mentors. I have so much respect for these two gentlemen, and so much of my success, of what I've learned from them. And I can't thank you guys enough for being here to celebrate my birthday, to celebrate the Ask Stuart Hour, and to be here with these awesome agents who are giving us their time today. So thank you very much.
Hey, thanks, Stuart.
You're welcome.
This is from Hans. He says, a note to Mike and Nolan, I've enjoyed your YouTube videos, learned a lot from them, also enjoyed a lot of useful information from Mike's Ama Waterways River Cruise in a Box presentation. He says, thank you. And so we're going to have some fun here. So here's Hans. Now listen, everybody, I think everyone is going to really love these questions. Knowing what you know now, if you were to start a group cruise business of your own, and Mike, we're going to go to you first. Question 1, then we're going to go right to Nolan. We're going to do rapid fire around a circle here. Okay, knowing what you know, if you were to start a group cruise business of your own, what primary areas of group travel would you focus on? As an example, luxury, river cruise, incentive, corporate, theme, and why? Mike?
I would go river cruising as my niche, number 1. Number 2, the first thing I'd do is go over there and take a river cruise. Which it's rob a bank if you have to, but I mean there's fam trips. Get on that ship because once you're on the river cruise, you'll understand it and it'll be easy to talk about it. And then I would roll up my sleeves and I'd contact people and say, can I come in and talk to your group? I would have meetings and then I'd invite people to come to my meeting room, be it in a hotel or a restaurant. On Thursday afternoon at 1 o'clock, we're going to spend an hour talking about river cruises. It might be the Danube, might be the Rhine, might be the Seine, and I'm going to answer all your questions about this fabulous new niche, if you will. And the agents that are doing that are winning at it. They're making money inviting the population into their meeting. It could be 2 or 3 people, but if you sell 2 river cruises out of 3 people, that's not bad. But I know agents that are getting 30 and 40 people in that room, and they're doing very well. So I would do the same thing. I'd follow what the people are doing today successfully, invite them in, talk to them, you show your personality, you show your sense of humor, you have the great videos going, you might have the supplier with you, address all their questions. If you don't sell them that day, it might be in 6 months or a year from now, but that's what I would do. And I might add, Stuart, that's what I'm thinking of doing as I get closer to retirement.
Well, you're like 20, 30, maybe even 35 years away from that. So
I'm about 35 away. That's what does that answer your question, Stuart?
Yeah, no, it answers Hans' question. I hope everybody enjoyed that. Now we're going to turn to Nolan. Nolan, what say ye?
Yeah, if I were going to do it again today, knowing all the things that I know, I'd focus on a specific interest. It could be anything: art and culture, culinary. It could be yoga, fitness, whatever the interest might be. If you focus on an interest as a specialty, and you get, for example, you probably know, we know the same guy, I'm guessing, that does the Grateful Dead cruises, Deadhead cruises. So because he focuses on this particular interest, he can take them across many, many different products, many different destinations, many different suppliers. So in some ways it can broaden the scope, but you have to really be good at that interest. And when you pick an interest, even professional marketers, people who do marketing stuff all the time, will tell you that these things, which they refer to as psychographics, breaks through age barriers, breaks through destination barriers, because it's stuff people are passionate about. You got somebody who's crazy, crazy, crazy about history. It doesn't matter where it's going. If you focus on history, they're with you. Get somebody who's all about culinary. It doesn't matter where it's going. They're all about culinary. Or as my friend that does the Grateful Dead cruises, they don't even care what ship or what destination. They just know they're going to get to trade some memorabilia, buy some T-shirts, listen to Grateful Dead music, and they've done it on everything from mass market kinds of cruises to river cruises to Antarctic expeditions. So that's why I like the idea of taking a psychographic, one you personally know really, really well, and making that your focus for your groups.
Love it. Good stuff. Nolan, thank you. Mike, did you want to add?
I just want to add one thing, that the old saying is the best time to grow a tree is 20 years ago. And it takes time, regardless of what your choice, your niche, whatever it takes time. And my advice would be that the faster you jump in the water, the faster you start in that direction, you're going to be happier down the road, because the weeks turn into months, turn into years. The next thing you know, you say, I should have done this 30 years ago. So don't delay. I mean, the time to start is right. Start new, fix whatever you have that's old, but don't procrastinate. Get in the game and start having fun with it.
Yeah. I couldn't agree with you more. Get her done. And if there's, perhaps if there's one, the biggest takeaway from this show, and you know, whenever we're out on the road and we're doing our seminars, our workshops, our keynotes, we talk, give great ideas, fresh perspectives, we inspire, we motivate, but at the end of the day, get her done, man. Just go do it. Get it on that calendar. It's what?
I mean, that was like yesterday.
That was yesterday.
That was 50.
Right.
That was 50 years ago. Look at that. A time is flying. I remember watching the guy's windshield.
Wow.
Time flies. It's incredible.
Yes. Time flies, but you're the pilot.
You're driving your bus. There you go. Perfect.
And I didn't. That's a Michael Altschuler. I use his quote all the time. Never met the guy. He's another speaker, but I always when I quote somebody, I give him credit. Time flies, but you're the pilot, man. So everyone on the line right now, I know you love groups. I know you're digging it. And if there's an area you want to get into, if it's either the high school groups or Yolanda, we're going to talk about corporate in a second. Just do it, man. Just do it. And before you know it, you'll be on the road. But get a business plan. If I could turn I don't know if you want to see my desk over here. It's a mess, but I got 24 notebooks. Every notebook has a different idea. And I stack them in order of priority. I know I already have my 2017 list. We should have another show just on, going around, okay, what are you declaring that you're going to get done in 17? Because you can either run life or let life run you. I think you should take control, man. Surprises come along the way, but get her done. Yeah, Mike.
I was going to say, Nolan called me up once a couple of years ago and said, that frickin' frack raid, that automotive show up in Boston, what's his name? That was a fun deal. Car talk.
Yeah.
Next thing you know, we're doing that video show for 2 years, just as an idea.
Right.
I call you guys up, say, meet me in Tallahassee, the five amigos, we made those tapes. You get an idea, give it a shot. Some of it works.
You do it. Right, crazy things happen. So let me.
I never thought he'd sell that hat.
That I what?
He never thought he'd sell that hat that you have on. And look, there is a buyer for everything.
Well, listen. Thank you very much. I'm telling you, I think I want to be on the Westworld show. I'd make a very good host. No, that's a crazy show. Great. By the way, if anybody doesn't already watch BBC, wow, best stuff in the world. We're watching Crown. Guys know, my boot campers know I digress because I like to be real here. I'm telling you, Crown is phenomenal. Okay, back to business here. Hans's question, I want to answer that two ways. If I was getting to the group travel business right now, what would I focus on? I would do two things. Number one, I'd make sure I create enough of a market-driven program so I get the call. I'd get out there, make the speeches, shake the hands, kiss the babies, and let the world know that I'm a group expert, here's my focus, I'm here for you, and I would make sure I'm integrated into the marketplace to get a phone call, to do a group. And the second thing I would do, while I'm making sure my marketing is right and out there being a magnet to bring in potential business, I'm going to pursue my own passion, my own dream, and I'm already doing it. I love river cruising so much, and when I come home from river cruise, my friends and family were like, oh my gosh, tell me, this sounds amazing. Okay, you know what? We're doing a friends and family river cruise. April 2017 on the Rhine. I'm doing it. Okay? And next for me, the next group I'm going to do is when I launch a new business with my wife, Kimberly. It's called Healthy, Sexy You. Our slogan is live vibrantly, age gracefully. And we have a specific theme, and Nolan had mentioned this too. It's health and wellness. And man, when you get 50 plus, stuff happens.
Easy.
The best health care is caring for ourselves. Forget the docs, forget all the nonsense, is caring for what you got going on here, and then you won't need the docs. You won't need the meds. I'm getting on a bandwagon here. But so that's Wait till you see the birthday cake I have. Wait till you see the birthday cake I have. Oh, you're going to like it. You're going to like it. All right, I'm going to get to the boards here, and then Hans, we're going to come back to your next question, which was what mistakes would you try and avoid? And we're going to go around. So Mike, start thinking about that, and I'll start thinking about that. Let's get to the question board. I've been in the lax area. Yolanda, you talk about approaching corporate groups. When you reach out to a corporation, who do you recommend asking to begin the dialogue for a corporate group? And that's a great question because let's make sure we define this, everybody. For corporate business, okay, there could be corporate travel, just basic everyday travel. If you're not in that ball game, I'm not sure you want to get in it right now. There's still some agencies who do it. God bless them. Maybe they make money doing it. That's great. It's a niche. And actually, I know companies, they do. That's what they specialize in. That's cool. But if you're talking corporate group meetings and incentives, then you know what? Making that cold call, you're going to get a cold response back. And Mike said this before too. Just picking up, hi, who does your groups? You're going to be trying to get in that door for a year. So here's what I say. There's only, if I can remember all 6, here we go. I'm 53. I'm losing bandwidth up here. My RAM is only so big. That's random access.
There's a family show here, Stuart. Careful.
It's computer talk. That's as much as I know. Good grief, you guys are bad. The only way to get in the door, listen, Yolanda and everybody. whether it's I'm losing control. Whether it's a corporate group or any group, you want to get into an organization. There's only 6 ways it's going to work. Because a cold call will get a cold response. Number 1, you got to be referred. Not necessarily in this order. Hey, I'm a friend of Bob. I'm a friend of Nolan, friend of Mike. Give me 15 minutes. I want to come in and I want to learn about your business. Because you're not going to sell. You're not going to sell even on the second meeting. First, you're going to get in and make friends. That's it. You're going to learn about them. You got to see if they have a problem, by the way. If they don't have a problem, they don't need you. Because they need to have a problem that a group trip can be a solution for. You get that? So number 1, referral. Number 2, you have to be a customer. Maybe if you're a customer, say, hey, listen, I've been buying wine at your shop. I've been, whatever. I pay you guys every month for these services. I love you guys. It's amazing. I want to see, what's your secret? How do you do it? Can you meet with me? Get in and be a detective, okay? Number 3, perhaps as a partner in passion. Yolanda, you listen to me? A partner in passion, which means perhaps it's a fundraising group, like St. Jude. You want to do something for St. Jude? They're right down the block here. Partner in passion, whatever it is, that charitable opportunity. The next thing could be a fan. Now, this is the real toughest because if you're a fan, that person, that celebrity chef, that celebrity writer, they got 100 people knocking on their doors every day. What makes you a different fan? What's going to get you in the door? I'm not going to get to all 6, but the final one I'm going to say is if you're just as another local business. Mm-hmm. Hi, I own a local business in town, and so do you. Can I come in? Give me 15 minutes. I just want to talk and see how you keep customers, how you doing, what's your secret. Let's just come in and talk. And Yolanda, if you discover, oh man, if you find out that they do an annual incentive, if you find out that they don't but they have a sales team and they want to grow sales and you know that with an incentive it will cost them nothing because they're not going to pay for it unless there's business growth, you got a solution to a problem. If this business wants to keep their customers loyal and they want to do a loyalty trip for their customers, light bulbs go off, but you don't sell at that first meeting. But just making a cold call is not going to work. Gentlemen, you got anything you want to add to that?
I do. In my deep, dark past, I actually worked for a meetings and incentive agency a long time ago. And some important things I learned about that business is that these are not the same things. Meetings and incentives are 2 different people you'd be talking to. Be aware of that, with 2 very different needs. The meetings side of corporate groups is mostly about education, bringing their people in to be trained on stuff, having their own seminars for their own staff, or sending people, or having conventions for their customers, or for sometimes attending trade shows, that sort of thing, or creating a trade show. Incentives is different. Incentives is usually the sales department. So you're talking to different people. Be aware that they've got completely different priorities, completely different ideas, different approach. The people who do the meetings, man, you really have to be prove your stuff that you know how to be organized. It's going to be all about that you got the connections with the hotel people. That's going to matter to them like crazy. But on the incentive side of things, usually you're talking to some bozo like Mike, who's a salesperson, who really doesn't give a darn about organization. But what he wants to do is he wants to create some sort of an incentive for his staff. There we go. That's what I'm talking about. There you go.
Nice.
I'm looking for somebody who can handle my meeting. I'm a bozo.
No, that'd be on the incentive side. The incentive side's where the bozo is.
The bozos. We want to play golf and eat shrimp. That's what I want. That's all I want.
Oh, well, I hope you understand. We're just having some fun here, folks. But do be aware that on the incentive side, it's a different ball game. They both have different areas of expertise. And I think Stuart hit the nail on the head. You got to go with what their priority is. What's important to them? What's going to matter to them? The meetings guys are going to really care about organization, contacts with the hotels, that you know how to fill out that checklist and make sure it's all done right. The incentive side, they want to reward and or inspire their people to perform. That's more what incentives are about. So be prepared to talk about that, how you can help them achieve their goal of inspiring or rewarding their people.
Yeah, that's good stuff.
when I started years ago, I worked for a company out of St. Louis called Maritz Communications, Maritz Motivation.
Yeah.
And I saw the dollars being bandied around at AT&T and some of these big outfits. So I immediately decided that I wanted to get into the incentive business. So I went out to the association meeting in Hawaii. I flew to Hawaii to learn all about incentive travel. And the major takeaway, and this is what I want to share with your audience, Stuart, it has nothing to do with travel. Incentive is how can you help me design rules so my 50 guys sell 50,000 typewriters. I mean, it's all about meeting your sales objective. It has nothing to do, getting on an airplane and going to a hotel. I mean, they can figure that one out. There's the room, here's the key, nice, good luck. But they're talking about how can this trip help me double my quota or add 10% or even meet my quota. So it's all business speak when you're talking about incentives. And many travel agents make the mistake of going in thinking it's just the mechanics of delivering the trip. And you're competing against companies that that's just the trip. Don't worry about that. I'm going to help you sell more. That's the incentive side. The answer to the corporate side, unfortunately, and I also, when I entered the travel business, I was selling corporate travel, that what's happened there is no answer. There is no person. It could be the president. It could be the guy driving the truck to the hotel. It could be a secretary. It could be the human resource. It could be the salesman. There is no answer. So like anything else in sales, you have to go find out. You got to do the research. You got to do the due diligence. You got to knock on the doors. You got to be the detective. You got to fail a lot. And the secret, how can I get in? I don't care how I get through the door. I want to get through that door. So once I'm in, now I can walk the halls and find out what's going on. And you can't, and the biggest mistake that people make is they quit too soon. You know, so you get hung up on once and you say that's a bad idea. And you've got to have alligator skin because there's no easy way today. I wish there was, folks, but there's no easy way, and in most cases there are no answers. The good news is you're selling a good, honest, solid, clean product that people enjoy. If they don't want to enjoy it, that's their problem. But you're out there representing a pristine product, and you just can't quit. You have to keep going. And that's my 2 bits.
Yeah, it's great. It's great 2 bits. Let me say, I was looking to hold up the Dale Carnegie book that I'm hoping everybody on this call has read, How to Win Friends and Influence People. Because my friends, if you're going in to sell, you're just another salesperson. That's why I really think there's got to be some common thread, some way to get you in the door. If you're just going to sell, you're just a salesperson. And let me just make one more comment on this. And we got tons of comments and questions here, and I appreciate that, everybody. But the worst thing to do is to send a long email and put your big idea in the email. Because what you're doing is you're giving them the chance to say no, thank you, delete. You'll never, ever, ever have the chance. No, but wait, I really do have a good idea. No, sorry. And it may be a great idea, but you don't waste it, man. Don't spill the beans in an email. Get in the door, make friends, discover their problem, and then do everything that Mike and Nolan said. Now, it's time. It's at the halfway point, so we're going to sing "Happy Birthday" to me. Now, instead of a birthday cake, I have a beautiful, gorgeous, made by the sun and the heavens and the earth and the water. This is an organic portobello mushroom. Look how beautiful. Hey, can you see how beautiful? Look at that. That is a beautiful mushroom. Because I don't have a cake, I'm like, I forgot to get a cupcake. What should I do? Next best thing. So we're going to sing a very short.
What? Mushroom's bigger than your ram.
It happens to be a very big organic portobello mushroom. So here we're going to. Now this is a very short birthday song. If any of my friends have ever been to Disney, you guys know the birthday song that they sing. It's very simple. And I'm going to turn everybody's microphone and camera on. So if you're in your pajamas or if you're half in the bag, we're going to see you sing "Happy Birthday" to me right now. Here we go. It goes like this. And I'm going to sing it as if it's to me. I mean, wow. I know, I'm a little crazy, but I can't. I'm a little. This is my birthday song. It isn't very long. Hey! Thank you. Thank you.
Hey.
Thank you. Woo-hoo. Thank you.
Happy
Wait.
birthday.
Oh. See, I can't even blow my own horn.
The
Goodness
lungs
gracious.
go first at 53, Stuart.
Thank you for allowing me that, friends. Here we go. Nancy says, happy birthday, Stuart. Thank you. Dawn says, I'm considering pairing with fitness instructors for couch to Costa Rica or something with more active trips. Really, who wants to do a bunch of 5Ks? Let's hear some other fun ideas of co-marketing, co-branding. So Dawn is looking to partner with fitness instructors. So that partnership, that strategic partnerships. And that's, whether you call that person a group leader or not. And don't immediately call these people group leaders. They may not want to be called a group leader. The fitness instructor's like, no. I'm a yoga instructor. No. I've got my own shop here. I don't want to be a leader. But inherently, they are, because they've got the funnel into the audience base, right? But don't gentlemen. Strategic partnerships with people who own other business, who are instructors, who are teachers. That is the way to go, because you both have that commonality. Right, and you can, and if it's running, or if it's biking, or if it's culinary, like was mentioned here, that's the hook, man. That's the hook, to work with somebody, especially if they've got the database of people. My friends, if you want to do affinity groups, the answer is not spending a penny on advertising, because that database of people could be on Facebook, could be on an email list. You should have an instant built-in connectivity distribution list. And that's what that, gentlemen, any comment there?
I think you nailed it.
Well, the one thing I want to add, Stuart, of course, is that when you talk about partners and relationships, and it's such a cozy word. It's a logical word. It's a cozy word. It's a word that, let's two of us get this thing done. Very difficult. That if you have somebody getting into your idea, they're not going to be into it as much as you're into it. Yeah. And you've got to find out what floats their boat, what turns them on, what's going to drive them out of bed to help get the program going. And you just don't take it for granted, because I have seen very few work that way. So make sure that if you do get a leader, a group leader to work with you, make sure they're just not in for the free ride.
Oh, thank you, Mike, for saying that. Listen, everybody, pull up a chair. Pull up right now. Listen, if you're on another screen checking the weather, come back. Free ride. If they're in it just for the free ride, watch this. Because that's all they're going to care about. That's all they're going to care about, is going free. So if you're a boot camp already, you know this. That is not the way to go find groups. Ask me how you can travel free. And you guys also know, please, I love you all, but sometimes I'm going to tell you things that you need to hear, you don't want to hear, but that's not the hook, man, because that's all they're going to want. Mm-hmm. And is it really free? Do they know how much it really costs for that berth or that cabin? Good grief. As Mike said, they need to have skin in the game. Their number one priority is to see the group be successful. And frankly, the organization, they may already provide the free cabin. They're going to pay for the cabin for them. They don't need it free. So sometimes you give something away you didn't need to.
Okay.
You think I'm a one-hat show?
The phrase I wrote down, and I think is worth jotting down in your notes, is in today's hectic-paced world, is to enter the conversation people are already having with themselves. You have your conversation. They're not interested in your conversation. They're interested in their conversation. And if you want them to listen to you and to jump on your bandwagon, you've got to enter their world on their terms and then find out what floats their boat. And that happens at corporate and in meetings and in incentives and in groups across the board, that people have their own agenda, and you've got to find out what that is. And Stuart, one small, not a correction, but you mentioned to call up somebody to say, let me come in and find out how your company works or something. You said that. Be careful of that one, because that's your due diligence before. You should know how the company works because of internets and Googles and all of that stuff. So when you do get on the phone, you can say something very intelligent that you already know about the people you're talking to and what their needs are, and you can address that because that's what they're thinking about.
I agree. I agree. Nolan, Mike mentioned internets. You want to take that one on, Nolan? What do you think Mike meant by internets?
I want to know myself.
You don't know what can of worms you just opened here, Stuart.
I think Mike's he's been eating too much organic mushroom.
We all know what those things are grown in, don't we, Stuart? Did you wash that thing off before you took a bite?
Oh, dirt is good. Dirt is good.
Oh, if only it was just dirt. I have a folder. Where is that thing? Yeah, here it is. This is my Mike's Questions About the Internet folder. Oh, wait, here's another one. Oh, wait a minute, there's another one, too. Oh, yeah. Let's see.
Wait a minute. Wait a second.
Sorry, Mike.
I had to put lug nuts on those shelves so they don't fall down. There's so many folders of questions in there.
Internets. It's fascinating. Really fascinating. Okay. Here we go. Belvin. We're gonna rock it through these. Everyone's typing in great stuff. Thank you so much. Belvin says, when working on a group at an all-inclusive resort, do you have the individuals in the group pay you, then you pay the supplier, or should you use the individual's credit card information to pay the supplier? Now, that's a great question. And gents, just give me a finger up if you want to answer that. Let me just say right here that it could go either way. One of the things I think is most important, friends, when you're selling a group is that if you're just working for a commission, you're only going to make a tip. You're only going to make a gratuity. That's what I think a commission is. It's just it's a tip. If you think you're going to thrive on commissions alone, I think you're wrong. So therefore, you got to mark up. Therefore, if you, Belvin, if you're going to pay the supplier, if you're going to have the credit card number called in and whatnot to the supplier, make sure that supplier, right, gentlemen, that supplier will take an overpayment so you can put more margin in because you're going to build more. You're going to supersize that package. When it comes to groups, you never, ever, listen closely, want to sell the stripped down, off-the-shelf, bare-bone product, because if you do, you're nothing better than an online travel agent. What do they need you for? So, Belvin, two-part answer. If they're going to take an overpayment, that's golden. If not, then perhaps look, consumers, right, gents? Consumers love seeing not Belvin's Travel necessarily, but the hotel company name on their credit card. I get that, but perhaps you can get, because we talk about this a lot in boot camp. How do you take an overpayment if you don't have a merchant account? Perhaps you take this first small portion as a deposit payable to your agency. So that's your extra fat, that's your margin that you earn, that you deserve, and the rest goes to the supplier. Any comments on that, gents, or do we keep moving on? No? Okay. Thank you, Belvin. Edward says, hey, thanks for the chat, guys. Lots of great info. Cool. There's my friend Jay. I think Jay's in Vancouver, too. Aren't you, Jay? I think so. Mike looks great with the hat. Nolan looks cool without one. There you go. Oh, thank you, Jay. Let's see here. Hold on here. Nancy booked a chorus group last April to New York City to sing at Carnegie Hall. I handled the transportation and accommodation and some tours. Another company, Distinguished Concerts in New York, sell the opportunity to sing at Carnegie Hall to the tune of $750 a head. Are you kidding me? I thought the only way to get to Carnegie Hall was to practice, but it cost you $750. Holy mackerel. The directors worked with DCINY. I handled the travel. It was a great concert. So this is good news, Nancy. Thanks for sharing. This goes back to you, Ed. It looks like there's companies you can partner with to make your life easier because they handle those down and dirty logistics. Very interesting. Let's see here. Jenny says, I love that focus on an interest. Absolutely. Yolanda said, wine. Yolanda, are you offering us wine? Should we be drinking wine? Are you drinking wine at this early hour, or are you talking about wine cruises? Mike, do you want to handle that for a second? Because I know Alma, they do a bunch. I've been on 2 wine-themed cruises. You want to give us a recap on your take on these wine? Have you seen agents do it themselves, or do they sell a group into an existing wine-themed cruise, for instance?
I've never been on I've been on 4 AMA cruises. Not one of them was as a theme cruise. But I think the ones I've seen where they sell into it, the Jewish Heritage, for example, that they have these going down the river and they sell into them. Maybe the last cruise I took, there was a group of about 15 people, but it was like a subgroup that they organized in a local area. But they didn't, I really can't intelligently respond to that, Stuart.
Hey, Nolan, I was going to leave him out there for a while.
That does remind me of my high school days. I like to just comment on a few things. But
you know what? While I'm talking to Nolan, you check the internet, see if you get the...
The interwebs. It's a series of tubes, I hear.
Just to comment on the wine thing, there's no doubt. No, I have just coincidentally, I've been on 2 of these wine-themed cruises, and I think it could be a very cool idea. Rather than you going to find the expert, the group leader, then just tap into either a hotel or a cruise line or a river cruise line's themed program. That's a lot of these guys do that, and you build into it. The most of the work is done. You just put some pretty finishing touches on it. However, if you can work with a local wine shop, then you will have success. But you sit down with the owner there or a sommelier. But let me say something. You shouldn't be advertising for the guests. There should be a go-to place to find them. And for instance, if there's wine clubs, there's a lot of wine clubs. People get together and they wine to each other.
Well, okay. All kidding aside, it's funny because this is such an important topic here. Any cruise, river cruise, ocean cruise, tour package, you name it, can be marketed with a specific interest in mind, even if you don't put together a theme cruise. For example, every river cruise, you know, Mike, you've been on lots of them, every river cruise has got a choice of excursions and a choice of tour packages and such. So imagine that if you wanted to market river cruising to wine lovers, but you're not quite yet ready, or you don't have enough people, or you don't have a group leader to put an actual theme cruise together, that doesn't mean you can't tap into wine as a way to market it. You just use that and use wine as the thing that is the theme of your marketing. Highlight the wine excursions. Say, we're going to put you on this excursion, we're going to put you on that excursion, we're going to see Bordeaux, where some of the best wine in the world is. You can take any cruise, ocean or river, and magically transform it into a theme cruise without actually having to create a theme group around it, just by the marketing and by who you talk to.
Yeah, that's great. Let's take a step back. Let's simplify before we complicate here, because I was talking to, I think 2 weeks ago on the Ask Stuart show, I forget who it was thinking of doing a beer theme, working with local craft brewery, a word I can't pronounce. And one of the problems was that this cruise, if the cruise line doesn't have a partnership with that beer, with that brew, then they could be prohibited from bringing it on unless they bring it on free and you give it out free. You can't sell it. So there are all kinds of logistics, too, if you need to bring that brand of booze on and it's not already a supplier. River cruising, it could be a little different. But that's good stuff. I want to pose this to both of you gentlemen. Yvonne says, I find that the ideas are easy. What is hard is finding those people interested to come to your meeting. And this is Yvonne is referencing having a local meeting and having people come to see you speak to really integrate in the community, which is so important. A meeting at home or someplace, it could be about a river cruise. Any recommendations for how you do that?
Yes, and it's going to sound like a little bit of a broken record here, but if you said, I'm going to have a meeting to talk to you about river cruises, it's way too general. But if you instead said, I'm going to have a wonderful presentation about the wines of Europe, experience them by river. I'm going to have a presentation on the European art history and how to see it all on a river cruise. See, again, it's back to the interest. If it's just about a cruise, just about a river cruise, just about a tour or a land package, that's not specific enough. These interest is what cuts through all of those limitations because you're talking about a passion. So pick something. And I think a good place to start is something that you personally know and love, because you'll talk about it with more passion than somebody who just saw it was a good idea on a blog or something. You know, like Stuart, with your personal theme that I know you focus on with the healthy, sexy aging. Okay, that cuts through. You could get people interested in a presentation on that probably more than if you were trying to create a group package out of it. You know what I mean? So the focus is the interest, not the product, but the interest.
Yeah. That's right. The interest. Yeah.
Excellent points. And when you invite people, don't think that you have to hit the home run the first time. I mean, if you have an idea and you say, come on over, we're going to talk about the beaches of Normandy, Tuesday night, my house, we'll crack a couple of bottles of wine. If 4 people come and you do it right and you have fun with those 4 people, the 2 couples say, and they enjoy it, you can say, let's do this again next month, but why don't you all bring some of your friends? And the 4 turns into 8, and the 8 turns into 16, and the 16 turns into 32, and before 6 months is up, you have 64 people coming. But it's you, the host. People say, I hate networking. Well, that's because you're probably a moron, you know, because it's. Sorry.
What do you really think, Mike?
Have some more mushroom.
I mean, if you're the host, and you make people feel comfortable, and you set something up, and you make it work. So I'm all for those meetings. But Nolan, your point. Notice everybody, I don't pick on Nolan or Stuart at all. It's all to the center column here. That's okay. If I hang on a couple of more years, I'm out of here. I'm not worried about it.
Nolan, he's threatened that for years now. I mean, I don't
get any business anymore. You're flying all over the world. Nolan is never back in Vancouver. I'm snowbound all my life up here in Cooperstown. What's there to hang around for? You guys are the best. I've taught you both well. I'm out.
But you know, every comedian needs a straight man. If you retire, who are we going to pick on? Our careers will be over.
It'll be too quiet.
That's right. But my point is, assume the responsibility. Make people feel welcome, comfortable, important, and they'll come to your meetings. And as Nolan's point, I love that, Nolan, is have a theme, not just river cruising. Talk about Normandy, talk about the wines, talk about Budapest and what's going on down there. And, that's important. And people they'll come. And if you put on a decent show, 20 minutes, a little slide, a little wine, cheese, bingo, you're done.
Absolutely. I love it. And, back in the day, we used to call them cruise nights. And I say used to because today, and hearing both of you gentlemen talking about something of interest versus the product, if you call it a cruise night, people know they're going to be sold to. Now, that would work if you already have a group and you're having a big meeting and it's part of your group launch sequence to start presenting the features and the benefits, not the features, benefits. Forget nouns, verbs and adjectives, friends. And if you want to throw in an adverb, that's fine too. Just don't let your participles dangle. I have no idea what that meant. I was told never have a dangling participle.
And never use that during the same webinar where you've talked about the size of your RAM, buddy.
I can't. My wife knows. It's just I can't put any more information up here. If I put in, something's got to go out, and that's it. I can't go get a hard drive replacement. I can't.
And again, you got to let this theme go, man. They're going to stop tuning in because the kids are listening.
I know. It's a family show. I don't even know what the heck I was talking about. Oh, what's nice is partner. Another point is get a bunch of people, get a bunch of friends, because then everyone will invite their friends. Say, hey, we're doing a presentation, and I'm inviting my friends such and such and such and such. They each specialize. This one specializes in the Chablis, this one in the Chianti, and this one in the Riesling, and we're going to come talk. I mean, I think the value of the whole seems even greater than some of the parts. You'll get to meet new people. That's wonderful networking, because you'll meet their people, they'll meet your friends, and you can do it. And you want to get those press releases out, but to these two gentlemen's points that you've just heard here, it's not about the product, it's about something interesting, and have a pure heart. If you're going to get in there and bang them over the head and start selling, they're never coming back again.
Mm-hmm.
And some of them are going to sit there for the first minute saying, when's it coming? When I know it's coming, when's it coming? And they're waiting for the sales pitch. And don't give it to them. I mean, this is a different strategy, and don't scare them away. It'll come together. That's not why you're doing these events. That could be the result, but it's not the goal. It's not the objective.
That's right. Believe it or not, we're at time, and we're having so much fun, and I see so many people made some great comments, funny comments. They're thanking us. They're saying yuck. Diamond, I assume you're saying yuck about the organic mushroom I just took a bite of. I don't know what you said yuck about. Or Hip Hip Hooray says, Dawn, happy birthday, some great stuff here. Nancy, you posted some great stuff. We couldn't get to everything here. I told you, the hour flies by, and everyone, yes, Diamond said, yuck to the raw mushroom. Hey, listen, whatever floats your boat. We got, there's a lot of good stuff. So here, I'm going to make this commitment to everybody. Hang on here. I'm going to go through this, and I'm going to start posting this stuff in our Facebook community so that we can continue the dialogue, continue sharing. If you took the time to type in something, I don't want to desert it. Okay, I want to make sure that we address it, we talk about it, we can help you. I want to thank Mike. I want to thank Nolan. You guys, thanks for being here.
My pleasure. My pleasure.
Thank you.
My pleasure.
I wish you gentlemen, I wish everybody on the line, this is the last Ask Stuart Hour of the year. We're going to pick up in January, and if you've got an issue, question, I'll give you my cell phone number. Text me, for crying out loud. Let's connect, let's talk. Area code 631-877-9080. Final expression of gratitude that you guys are here. Thanks for coming to celebrate my birthday and to join me with these two amazing men.
Stuart.
What?
Don't go
What?
yet. I just want to ask a question. Just ask a question.
Go
The avid cruiser, Ralph Grizzle. Some of your audience may know who he is.
Yeah.
Not a shameful plug, but my third Thursday, I'm interviewing Ralph at 4 o'clock today.
Oh, that's today, right.
That's today. 4 o'clock,
Okay.
Ralph Grizzle. We're going to be talking about the Seine on the Amelegro. So if any one of your guests are interested, give them my email, or I will give it to them. They can email me. I'll send them the registration link, and they can listen to Ralph Grizzle at 4 o'clock Eastern Time today talk about the Seine River.
Right, and that's on your show, 4 o'clock Eastern Time. You guys want that link, send me an email. Thank you all. I love you all. Have a great day. Happy sales. A happy, healthy, wondrous, sumptuous, joyous holiday season.
Merry Christmas,
Bye,
guys.
buddy.